is a story about two young men from Birmingham, UK, and it happened in the year 1969. I'm not claiming that this is exactly how it happened to down the last detail, but this is something, more or less, a true story. Terence, a man from the working class around the age of 20, had been interested in the occult for some time back then. He had painted his room with matte black and decorated with inverted crosses, pentagrams, and various pictures of demons and Satan himself. He wrote about dark cults, the supernatural, and about everything that is evil and unholy. His mate, John, knew this well, and when he stumbled on a book that was obviously written at least a couple of hundred years ago in Latin, he went first straight to Terence and gave it to him as a present. None of them had any idea what it was about, since they did not understand Latin, but it was obvious from the appearance and the sound of the words written on it, it had something to do with the black magic or witchcraft. Terence was so amazed by the book that he forgot to ask John on where he had found it. He spent the whole evening trying to figure out what that book could teach him. But after a couple of hours of intense studying, he still could not find a clue. Frustrated and exhausted, he put the book on his desk and simply went to sleep. He was awoken in the middle of the night, not sure of what it was that had interrupted his slumber, and then he saw it. On the end of his bed, barely visible in the dark of his room, stood an enormous black shape with fiery red eyes and had pointed at them. His natural reaction was that to switch on the light, and he did, and the whole thing was gone. And it turned out that there was that book that John had gave him. He looked at it everywhere in his room, in his house, and at the friend's house, but the book had simply vanished. Of course, this incident had left a big influence on them both. The influence was so big, in fact, that they decided to write a song about it and later renamed the rock band that they played after the song. The song's title was The Black Sabbath, and that is how heavy metal was invented. Well, that was Birmingham, 1969, a creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? The idea, I really do like the whole concept of this story. It's honestly a really good story involving two men from the UK, and they read this book on demons or something, and they invented, well, music. Like, what I mean is, like, heavy metal music, which I'm not crazy on heavy metal music. I don't simply have an issue with it if people like it. But I just personally am not a fan of it. But I respect people's opinions, though, if they like it or not. I still thought it was pretty interesting. And the grammar is pretty good, as well as the sentence structuring and that. The fact that it's taken place, 1969, it still makes me wonder about, were these men Christians or something before they saw the book or whatever? It kind of makes me wonder too. And this is honestly something I'm kind of wondering about. But it's still a pretty fun story. I personally loved it. I thought it was a good story. It's definitely well made, and I personally really do enjoy the story a lot. Now, this is on the regular Creepypasta Wiki. I will be sure to leave a link in the description. And I did see Gory Parodies review this story, so I thought, you know what, maybe I should go ahead and do this. And surprisingly, I've seen a few narrators actually narrated it, so I'm like, I'll take a look at this story. It's pretty good, and the fact that, when they're reading about demon stuff about that book, it's kind of surprising. Like, the one thing that kind of makes me puzzled is how would the book suddenly disappear afterwards? That is kind of honestly provides me a little bit of a question as to, why that's the case. Like, why is it the thing that the book all of a sudden disappears afterwards? It's honestly a question that really boggles my mind. Like, did someone take the book? What actually went on? That kind of makes me want to know what actually happened with the book. I mean, it doesn't really say if it vanished because of demon, paranormal, or whatever. But all we could really do is just come up with an idea as to what happened. I think maybe paranormal came and probably took the book, or maybe it was done by magic or something. I don't really know. But since this is an older story, I'm willing to give it benefit of the doubt. But it's still a pretty fun story. I still personally liked it. It's a pretty good story. I personally still think it's good for what it is. So, with that being said, and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and just say right now that this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this story a 9 out of 10. Mainly, it's a good story, but the only thing that really bothered me was the fact that we don't really get an explanation as to why the book all of a sudden disappeared. Like, we don't really have an explanation as to why the book disappeared. So all we could really do right now is just come up with some sort of idea as to what could have happened, or what might have happened to the book. But like I said, we don't really know. So, anyways, with that being said, and that being the case, yeah, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to leave this video a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out. And also, to the author of this story, before I roll the outro, if you are the author of the story and you happen to be the author of it and you see this, comment who you are, so then I'll be sure to give you proper credit then. But since that's out of the way now, please roll the outro, because I'm out.